Hello, everyone. Good evening. If you are here for the computing breakout session, you're in the right place. So I'd like to begin, and I'll start with introducing myself. My name's Donna. I'm the Associate Dean of Computing here at BCIT. And with me, I have my colleague and faculty member, Trevor. So between the two of us, our goal of today is to give you a very high-level introduction to many of the programs here at BCIT that are related to computing. We're not really going to go into too much detail. You will see on the applicable slides which of the programs have their own info sessions later, in which there will be much more detail. And of course, we have websites which we believe contain all the information that you should need. So what we want to do today is introduce you, just basically tell you the names of the programs and kind of what you could expect from them if you were to go into them. And Trevor and I will hang around a little bit afterwards if you have any questions. And of course, out in the lobby of SW1, we have all of our computing booths there. All right. So, BC Tech. Hopefully you're here because you're excited about the tech industry, that you want to get into tech, that you've heard good things about it. And we're lucky here in the Lower Mainland that Vancouver is such a hot hub for tech industries. So the BC tech industry, it's going strong, always has quite high demand, and Vancouver itself consistently ranks amongst the top cities for tech growth in Canada and Western Canada as well. The tech sector, right? So here you have a little map of BC. It shows it's not just the Lower Mainland, but all over. And of course, with the pandemic and people working more remotely, now you could say the competition is different because it is global. But we are still one of the main producers here in the Lower Mainland of tech talent. So here you see kind of numbers of tech jobs and tech-related jobs. This is not necessarily just counting jobs at the companies that you may be thinking of, like Facebook or Amazon or Microsoft, right? We like to say, and we think it's true, that every company now is necessarily a tech company, right? And I'll give you an example of Philips light bulbs, which is a light bulb manufacturer, but now has an app because they have the Philips Hue light bulb, which is a smart light bulb, which has an app, so you can set times and moods and colors of the lighting that you want in your house, right? So a light bulb manufacturer needs tech talent to create their apps and of course to integrate things with the Internet of Things. Right? Right. And so now BCIT, our grads are always in high demand, mostly because we have an excellent reputation for producing people who can work immediately, right? We don't just teach the theory behind computing. You're doing applied computing right from the start in our programs, so you come out of our programs job ready, and employers know that. In addition, BCIT has a very large alumni and group, and BCIT alumni love to hire BCIT students and keep it up, and our alumni will come back and then they'll teach and then they'll hire, say, the students that they're teaching. We're pretty recognized not just in BC, but also I think worldwide and in the States as being one of a big producer of tech talent here. Oh, I said it too early. All companies are now tech companies. In this picture, you see our PAC, our Program Advisory Committee. So every term, we will consult with these volunteers from industry. They'll come and meet with us, and we'll talk about what are you hiring for right now? When's the last time you hired a BCIT grad? What did you like about what they brought to your company? What's missing? Right, so we meet with them frequently, and then we try to adjust our programs to basically to meet the fast-paced, changing tech industry. So what programming languages are the hottest right now? What's up and coming? What languages are you no longer using? And we should get rid of that course, perhaps. So we try to be as responsive as possible, and this is our PAC, and they help us with that. Right. Okay, so just some more promotion, I guess, for computing. BCIT itself is the largest computing provider in Western Canada. We have over 30 applied programs with well-recognized and good reputation. And our surveys of grads find that they are satisfied and also are usually find employment very quickly. So our employability rates are quite good. Okay, so how I'm gonna break down, so you're gonna hear about a lot of programs, and so I'm gonna try to categorize them into 3 categories. And the categories we've chosen are create, configure, and command. So when we talk about the create category of programs, we're talking about programs where you would be learning how to write code from scratch to create a product, a website, an app, a program, something like that. So learning to code from scratch. That's what the create category will be. But we also have other programs. So under configure, we'll be describing programs where you may be learning to code, but not so much in depth. Configure might be more about how do you put many different things together and integrate them so that they all work together, talk to each other properly, are backed up properly, have the correct capacity to suit the organization that you work at, and things like that. So that's configure. It's more about integration. And then our last category, command, we're going to describe to you programs where you might be just learning about certain tools and technologies more in depth. Right? So for an example, Excel, the program Excel, it's a spreadsheet program. Say we had an Excel mastery program. Right? Learn every single function and how you can be a super user of Excel. That might be the kind of program that we will say for the command category. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Trevor to describe some of these programs to you.
Thanks, Donna. Hi, everybody. So I'm Trevor Lord. I'm an instructor in computing at BCIT, and primarily I teach in the CIT program at our downtown campus that we'll hit on in just a second. But yeah, so what kind of programs do we have under the umbrella of Create? So our core program, I can call it our core program, is Computer Systems Technology, or CST. And that's very much focused on graduating folks who are going to be junior software developers, at least at the beginning of their career. It's a 2-year full-time diploma program that can ladder, which means you can go from that 2-year program. You can graduate with a diploma, or you can carry on and do 2 more years and get our bachelor's degree after that. Software developer, application programmer, basically different job titles that mean the same thing. Testers are really important as well. Database admin, network admin, all kinds of jobs that are closely related to software development. So if you think you want a role as a coder, a developer, a programmer, creating software, CST is a really excellent choice for that. Those are actual former CST students. We also have a full stack web development program. So what is full stack web? Here's your first lesson. So you've got your front end, which is the applications that we all interact with, the things that might be on your phone. And there's the back end, which is the server side where all the data is kept. And so the front end and the back end together is a full stack. So full stack developers learn about and how to build all of those things, because you can't have an application, or not very useful application anyway, that doesn't have a back end. So this is about deploying things on the web. So that front end, that client, the client-facing user interface stuff, as well as the back end kind of technologies, the supporting technologies you talked about, as well as some breadth around project management, how you actually organize this stuff and get projects completed and delivered into the hands of the people that are going to pay for it. Also focus on design and business, so a bit more of that than you would find in the CST program. which means that you're going to be prepared for roles that might be more interdisciplinary, which means that rather than maybe spending all of your time doing software development, you might also have to talk to people from other functions in an organization, and maybe even customers and real people. And you might go and do a job that's called web developer or related to web development. That's also a 2-year full-time program. It starts in September every year, and we run it from our downtown campus, which is on Seymour Street between Pender and Dunsmuir, if you've never been down there. We also have our software systems developer, SSD, and you notice there's a dedicated info session for that on, tomorrow, right? Yeah. Also full stack web dev jobs, programmer analyst, not as in-depth as the CST program, but it is an 8-month certificate, so very intensive, but a very good preparation if you want a very focused and intensive kind of a program to try to get you a leg up into starting in this industry. So similar kinds of job titles that student would be prepared to try to apply for. And so talked about full stack being front end and back end. So a front end focused program, a 6-month certificate, online 2 times a year, and those kinds of jobs. So more focused, like I said before, on the front end stuff, and also WordPress, really popular technology for deploying websites and stuff that's even more complicated. Some applications too you can do with WordPress. So if you wanted something online, relatively short, and you wanted to focus on front end, this would be a really good program option for you. So that's kind of the creation, very much about coding and development, and all those different kinds of flavors. But like Donna mentioned, we also have programs that are around configuration. So actually thinking about how stuff gets used inside of organizations, how things get deployed, how things get maintained, how you make information systems talk to each other and play nice together, which is what integrating means. And so the program that I teach in most of the time, our computer information technology program. User support, so the unloved folks that support technology inside of organizations or even for external customers, which I think is a really awesome job for people to start with. It's where I started. System integrator is a fancy way of saying, again, trying to make computer systems play nice together and talk to each other and work well together, getting information systems deployed inside of an organization, making it work with the rest of that organization's technology, as well as network admin. And DevOps is a term that means how can you have a pipeline, a constant pipeline of new updates to the technology that an organization might be using. So if you're using applications that you get through a web browser, like often they are now, you can have a pipeline in behind that you might not even see as a user of changes that are always coming through. And DevOps is trying to make all of the plumbing that goes into making that work to make that all possible. So more than just being focused on software development, like with the create kind of category of programs that we looked at, this is really a bit broader in terms of, yes, understanding that stuff, doing a little bit of that development, but also thinking about how does this stuff actually get deployed out there into an organization, and how do people actually use it, and how do we keep stuff maintained. So a bit more breadth rather than the depth. We also have the Technology Support Professional, the TSP program. IT skills and multi-platform. This might be some of the kinds of things that people think about more typically when you think about IT. A 10-month certificate with September start, online as well as downtown. Tech support, help desk, junior network administration, that kind of stuff. Like if you actually want to get your hands on with networking technology and computer hardware, and something that's very in demand, very necessary these days, digital forensics and cybersecurity. We have a bachelor's degree program in that, as well as advanced certificates and micro-credentials. Of course, those aren't all equivalent, right? A micro-credential is a really short, concentrated, typically online course of study that you would do in something very focused, all the way up to a degree that would be on top of one of our, so it would be an additional 2 years on top of one of our 2-year diploma programs. Prevention and investigation of commercial crime and computer crime. Donna said every organization is a software company, a technology company. That's true. Every company that's online needs some help and some expertise in some way with digital forensics and cybersecurity, trying to keep information systems and networks secure, trying to find out if they have been compromised, trying to find out what's been compromised, trying to stay one step ahead of the bad guys. We even have folks sometimes from organizations like CSIS or the intelligence organizations from the Canadian Forces that will come down and talk to students on our campus about possible careers. They were downtown just a few weeks ago. So security management, information systems auditor, and policing as well. So yeah, if you think that could be exciting, those might be the programs for you. So that's our crate and our configure, and back to Donna for talking about command.
All right, so command, we're going to talk about programming our programs which involve you learning and mastering the latest tools and applications. One of them is called Forensic Investigator Crime and Intelligence Analysis. There's an online info session on Feb 27th. So this is 2-year Bachelor of Tech, and what that means is that you need to come into this with some sort of other diploma or certificate. So you can't start into this one straight out of high school, but if you have something else, then you could come into this, do 2 years, and then get the bachelor's, right? So this is focusing on using the latest tools and techniques for analysis, crime mapping, statistical software, yeah, basically what it says, forensics related to computing. Okay. So this one's a little bit different. This is our Office Administrator with Technology program. This is a really good one for maybe people who are re-entering the workforce after being away for a number of years. So this is a quick 5-month certificate. We do two intakes a year. One of them is online and one of them is in person downtown. So we have that variety, so you could take your pick. And these are the people that keep offices running, basically. They learn and master say scheduling software and Excel and Word and things like that to be kind of that front person at any office that manages things and administers things, right? So typical jobs are receptionists or clerks or administrative assistants, and it's based on technology and how to use all those tools that all offices need you to know now. Okay, and I'm also going to talk about flexible learning. So these are courses where you can set your own pace. These are courses that you can take in the evenings and on the weekends so that you can work a day job and still work towards some sort of credential, right? So in flexible learning, we have a number of programs starting from micro-credentials, and then you could ladder up to associate certificates, diplomas, and even the bachelor's, all through flexible learning. Right? We often have students who maybe will come and do a full-time 2-year diploma with us, go and get a job, and continue doing their next 2 years through evening and weekend and earn their bachelor's that way. Flexible learning also gives us a nice kind of safety net for students who maybe they want to have a reduced workload. Maybe they may take a course in the summer through flexible learning, and then when they come back in September, they may have a lighter workload, right? Or if you fail a course, you can make it up in flexible learning and stay on the path in whatever program you're on. Or you could just take one course, we have a lot of our flexible learning students are mature senior developers who have day jobs in industry, and they just want to pick up maybe a new language, right? So you could come to flexible learning and just take 1 or 2 courses in a very specific topic if you want to upskill. Right? So flexible learning, it has a huge range of different programs, including some of the certificates you've heard, including CST. CST is a 2-year full-time day, but you could also earn your CST entirely through flexible learning. It would take longer, but it will allow you to, do other things in your life if you don't want to do a 2-year full-time diploma. Okay. Oh, so as I mentioned, yeah, so flexible learning, you can do things part-time. You can do just 1 course a term. It's mostly nights and weekends. It's course-by-course registration, so every term you can register for your next set. So you kind of need, for this one, if you have a goal in mind or a credential in mind, you just need to make sure that you know all the requirements and you plan your courses out, because this is very much self-planned, self-registering for courses. And then when you believe you've taken all the courses for your credential, then you apply for that credential. So as an example, in some of the programs that are offered in flexible learning are things like the Applied Software Development Certificate, Applied Data Analytics Certificate, Applied Web Development, another certificate. So a lot of these are certificates, but if you're not sure, you can always just take 1 course, see if you like it. If that seems to be the topic that you're interested in, then you can look at the certificates and see, well, the course I've just taken, it could be a course that's included in, say, 2 or 3 of these certificates, and which one do I want to try to go for? Right? And then after you get that certificate, it may just be another 5 or 6 courses till you are able to get a diploma, for example. So everything is laddered, and a lot of courses, if you just take 1 course, may be applicable to a number of different credentials. And there's an info session for flexible learning on March 23rd. Flexible learning, you'll also see, if you're interested in 1 course, say Intro to Python, you might find that there's offerings for that in-person Burnaby and in-person downtown and online, all in the same term. And so you can pick which offering might be the most suitable to you. For the popular courses have multiple offerings per term, and we try to spread it out so that you have as much choice as possible. So here's just another plug for BCIT Computing grads. 85% education-related employment for our diploma graduates. And 100% employment for our degree graduates. And there's some caveats here for those who are actually actively seeking work within a certain time period, right? But yeah, so just again, one of the reasons, we've maybe used the word intense. Our programs are intense, but our grads and our alumni know that. So they basically say, if you can get through CIT, I will hire you, because if you've passed everything in that program, then I know that you have a great work ethic, that you can work in teams, that you can do applied computing and all of that. Right. So say you've seen some programs here that you're interested in, and you go and you start looking at what are the requirements to enter that program? What do I need to apply to that program? And then you see you have your math and English, but maybe you don't feel that those grades are competitive enough. Maybe those grades are from 5 years ago when you didn't have the best work ethic, right? Or maybe you're missing a course that's a prerequisite for one of our programs. So you can get those prerequisites through BCIT, through flexible learning again, right? So if you're missing a course or you need to upgrade a course to apply to one of our programs, then start here, bcit.ca/upgrading. Okay. Oh, there's a QR code there, but I'm sure you can find us online yourselves. And that is the end of our session.